society.
So here we are, we're all waiting for the truck to show up. There's a new cameraman for today. There's our expert. We flew in. She actually has a green ear. That's her ear. And there's Reed. That guy in the chair. That's Reed.
Yeah, that's why I turned.
He went to the airport to fly the expert, pick up the expert. And there's Steven back with us. The joy of him being here. Awesome. Anyway, we're waiting on the truck to come for the pour. And we should see him arriving soon. He might have a little bit of an issue getting up here, but we're ready. All the redneck forming is all done, and we're ready to do some redneck cement playing. You know, Brandon had knowledge of the steps, but he had resistance to the steps. But nothing else worked, so he decided to come with us and start working on it. And then when we got to the fourth step, he really had resistance. He didn't want to do it. And the fact that there was a lot there, if you like meth and you like taking a lot of meth, there's probably a lot of stuff on your fourth step. You know, meth tends to make you hyperactive and you're doing all sorts of things and getting a lot done and stealing stuff and things like that. So there's can be a lot of stuff on a fourth step, and his was daunting, let's just say. So maybe it took a little extra bravery for him to step into it. Maybe it took a little bit of extra knowledge, a double layer of the truth that there was no other way except to walk through the fourth step. And he did it. All of that stuff, I think, at some point just kind of became like a piece of old furniture or a commodity or something to him. He's just like, I know I got to get rid of this one. I go 71, 70, whatever it was. He knew he had to get rid of it to clean that house out, to have a good life and to get his family back and all that. And the reality is he was willing to do it. And sometimes it takes a minute. You know, who am I without all this history, without the shame, without the remorse, without the guilt, you know, without the self-loathing? Who am I? That's a whole nother aspect, but he did it. And I'm proud of him.
This step feels like walking the perimeter every night, checking doors, checking windows, making sure no lives have slipped in.
You know, they just instituted a rule, no candy thrown from the floats. But isn't that the sheriff? That's the sheriff. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's how it is now.
Do as I say, not as I do. This is where we've got a little bunker down here that they were using for all the water from the. That's perfect. We washed the wash the nuclear dust off of people. And it's a big, I don't know, 3,000 gallon tank basically. I'm trying to build my own geothermal thing. I want to put a mini split in here, and I'm trying to find out if I can put the condenser down in here because it's underground, and it's a built-in geothermal thing. Anyway, that's it. So,
Dane's down in the hole.
Can't seem to get out of here. So I got to turn, but my leg, I'm holding myself up with my knees and my arms. There's nothing to put your feet on. Too far down.
Gotcha.
So it's here's where the pots of pains usually go.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Okay.
I gotta get out of here. Trying to come up with some kind of solution here. Oh shit! I'm gonna kick you when I get out of this hole if I can still move.
Holy shit. That's good stuff.
I'm regretting going down there. I lost half the skin on my arm.
Okay.
That particular piece of the job was I think it was Reed and Steven. And at the time, Reed didn't want to get down in the hole. So I said, I'll take the jackhammer down there. And at the time, I didn't think about, you know, how loud it was going to be. We needed to remove these two cement baffles in order to make it a whole open area. And it's about a 6 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot high cement box underground that the previous owners had put in there. And what I wanted to do was turn it into a geothermal unit. So I had air get pumped in from the back, get blown outside from the other side, so the air would turn over in there. Therefore, I could use this underground chamber as a heating and cooling unit. So we got it all cleaned up. We jackhammered the top. Jackhammered the first wall down there so we can get over it, and then we're going to put the system right in that little spot. The line will go through that hole right there, come up, go through this channel, go underneath the foundation, and then outside. So, and there's a 4-inch pipe that goes back to the big basement, and we're going to try to utilize that to pull air from the big basement, and then we'll have another fan pushing air out of the box. Boy, the deck looks good, doesn't it? Man, fantastic. We just got our temporary furniture out here now. And we're still doing some walkways and some steps. But realty turned out nice. You know, what a view. Alright, we're gonna move the last boulders. Put some steps in up here this morning, and now we are about to add some big boulders along this side, kind of cover up that cement, the blocks. So I'm gonna put we just cemented in some steps over here this morning. They won't get used very much, but we need to have access.
So Dean's fixing to get in here and core drill through the side of the bunker. We're running gas.
See, we're taking this, and hopefully this drill, it's gonna be very tight. It's a 1/2 inch inside diameter gas line, really strong. So we gotta get it through the side of the bunker down here.
It's gonna be a tight fit.
Yes.
It's gonna be a good one though.
So we will, I'm gonna go with the pilot hole, but it's almost the same size as that. But I don't know if we're gonna be able to fully get through with that thing. So I may have to run this through to get through all the cement.
And he's off.
I am about 2.5 feet to the right of the sink and about 1.5 feet below countertop. Could I make it bigger?
Bigger.
Do that. We got bacon coming in. That's pretty easy.
Yeah. That's what you get.
Can we erase that part?
Nope. Still recording.
There we go.
Come on, 51. Waller that hole out.
And we need to fill that in a little more there. And actually need to chew this away because we're going to move this tank today. Over there. So, and then probably put the pinky back over there to hold that wall back and help cover this stuff up. Anyway, that is the next step. Right here. That's what I need. That is gonna be my brush right there for my next piece of artwork. These crazy are out there and supposed to be inventing Christianity or love or spirituality, and you know, people say God is love. Well, so where do 50 caliber guns on tripods and a tank come into play?
Federal seizure here in Spokane of $130,000 worth of high-powered weapons and ammunition from a longtime church resident has greatly added to those fears. Neighbors say a stash of weapons could turn those shelters into their own ticking time bombs.
To me, that represents the exact opposite. That's a lack of faith. Faith is God's going to take care of everything. God is love, and it's all going to work out. Got the cross. And then once you lose that and you become scared and you don't practice your 10th step, in other words, when you start to feel these fears and not loving on God's people and you don't do anything about it, you will go down into your character defects, so to speak. So that church, in my mind, was not working a 10th step over this whole time, and they broke down. They allowed their fears that were self-loathing or maybe spiritual superiority, whatever it was, or the world was going to come after them, that God wasn't going to take care of them. Whatever the negative aspects were, they came up and they made themselves feel better by going and buying a bunch of artillery instead of getting on their knees, asking God to change things and changing their behavior little by little. So, I'll tell you, this is happening. This is my paintbrush, let's say. And now I need my canvas. What do you think?
Looks pretty cool.
So, I got 2 of these. They'll kind of match my car hood on the other side. And it's where spirituality and the monkey brain meet. So, kind of the church was all about, you know, this, and then they ended up buying 50 caliber guns to protect themselves, or fear-driven activity instead of having faith. So what I want to do is take the 22, cover this whole thing in bullet holes, like the Wild West, and then use it in 2 of these, and then use the 2 panels as art on the other side. Didn't even go through. That's almost a better impact. Yeah. I mean, what's better than that? I made some art, 2 of them, and they're still on the wall now. You know, is it controversial? Maybe, shooting across. But my point is, it represents the cut church exactly. You know, they were that with this.
Montana Society!